Hello, folks. This is Kevin LaRue from Macphun in the US. I'm in San Diego. If you can hear me just fine, just do a quick little mic check here. Just put something in the questions box there. Hi, thanks, Andrew. Gotcha. And Angela, Jeff, fantastic. Sounds like we're coming through fine. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, November 1st. Thanks for attending. Again, if you have any questions during the presentation, just type them into your questions box. I'll answer them, or I'll forward them all over to AD Wheeler, who's going to be our presenter for the demo. We're really excited to have you guys here. It's the first day of the pre-order. We're coming off a big Photo Plus Expo last week and caught our breath over the last couple of days, and here we are. Today I'm joined by our good friend AD Wheeler, he runs all of our Facebook Live shows. He's an Arcana master, did a fantastic job in New York with us last week, and he really knows our software backwards and forwards. So I'm eager to see what he has to say about new Luminar 2018. So as you might have noticed, we did introduce the product formally at the show last week. This is an industry show. It's the largest one in North America. And our booth, frankly, was completely mobbed the entire time. You'll see some video footage that we'll put on it here, put on our social networks soon. The target audience hasn't changed for Luminar, even with the new version that's more powerful and faster and all that. It's really designed for everyone from beginners to pros. Anyone who wants to make perfect photos in less time, take complex photo editing tasks, and make them a lot easier. So because I know a lot of you are both media and there's also some affiliates on board as well, you're free to write about Luminar 2018 today. We're in the pre-order phase until November 16th, but by all means, publish a review and insights as soon as you wish. Before we get started with the demonstration, the other big news I wanted to mention at Photo Plus that came out at Photo Plus Expo is that we announced Macphun is becoming Skyloom software. Skyloom, like Luminar. And this new name, which you'll begin to see roll out on our websites and transition between now and the end of the year, makes sense when you think about that we're entering the big wild world of Windows, and having Mac in our name just doesn't make any sense any longer. So the idea of changing our name, kind of ripping the Band-Aid off at the show, so to speak, made a lot of sense. And actually people took a shine to it. There were folks that came up to the booth, didn't know who Skyloom was, but they knew what Luminar and Aurora were. So we kind of educated them about that. Hey, we also teased our plans a couple days before the show, and certainly it was a source of great interest for people, about our brand new digital asset manager. Now, our digital asset manager is going to provide photographers of all kinds with a fast and easy new way to organize their images. Now, this thing isn't out yet. As I said, we've just teased it. There is a blog post on our site about it if you want to know more. But made it up to Luminar that this combination of the Digital Asset Manager, DAM, and Luminar is going to be a true alternative to Adobe Lightroom. It's scheduled to ship in 2018. It'll be a free update. Everybody will get it automatically. And we'll reveal more details about the DAM in the coming months. But today our goal is to take a thorough look at Luminar 2018 and give you guys all the info needed to write about it. Without further ado, I'm going to turn the mic and screen over to AD Wheeler. AD, are you there?
I am here, Kevin, and I have to commend you. You are in much better shape for taking the flight out of New York and all of that than I am, and I'm just upstate. So I commend you, my friend.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.
So you should have control of the screen and be ready to rock and roll.
Cool. Let me shrink things down here. You guys have to let Kevin know if you can see my screen right now. I picked the main screen to show. So Kevin, I'm not sure if you can see that or not.
Folks are seeing it. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Good job.
Great, guys. Well, welcome to the webinar. I am AD Wheeler, also known as the Explorographer, and I am going to move through. There are over 20 new features in Luminar 2018 compared to Luminar 2017. And Kevin's going to have a roundup of that at the end of the broadcast, by the way, to fill in those blanks for you. I can't cover all of it today. I'm going to cover as much as I possibly can. And I wanted to start right here with a very familiar face, which is just a photo loaded up in Luminar. And you're going to notice things look kind of the same. The whole idea here was to basically make Luminar more quick, more powerful, and more intuitive. So there's a few things that are moved around, and we'll get to those, and I'll mention those as we go. And if you have questions, this is very important. If you have questions for me or for Kevin or about Luminar, just go ahead and type those into the chat window, and I'll make sure that Kevin gets them to me, and we'll get those answered for you. So let's get started. You know, the focus, as Kevin said, beginner or pro. You can start with the presets. They're very familiar here at the bottom, just as they were in 2017. And you can click on those and add. My main focus today, though, is I'm going to show you how to take this image here, which I just clicked on a preset just to show it. But I'm going to add just 2 filters, and we're going to take this from flat to fat, as I like to say, and a very workable photo in just a couple of clicks. I'm going to start out with opening up our new filters window. As you can see here, we have categorized filters. I'm going to open up all, and you can see all the categories here and scroll through them. You have highlighted ones. I've highlighted all the new ones that we're going to be showing off today, by the way. And you also have this really cool search feature where you can just type in the beginning of the filter name, and you can find it quickly there. Vignette, I just typed in to find that. Today I'm going to start out, though, with the filter we talk a lot about in these webinars, only because it's so darn cool, which is the Accent AI filter. Now, this was in a previous version, but you're getting to see kind of how quick and easy this is to make a filter, to make a photo pop. So I just started with that, and now we're going to add another filter, which is the new Sunrays filter. And I've got these all starred under my favorites. So we'll go boom, like that. And I'm going to show you some of these other ones. Don't get too excited about all these other ones. We're going to look at those too. So I pulled out the sun rays. Now there's a lot of talk about sun rays out there, and is it cool to do with a photo? I'm basically going to accentuate the rays that were already there. If I turn this off with the little eye, you can see there's some rays in the top of the photo here. And just super quickly, I'm going to place the sun right where the sun was, which was behind this mountain. You couldn't see it at the day, but I really want to show it off. And you can see how this is rendered in 3D in real time. So it knows that it's behind a mountain. I think that's kind of cool and magical in itself. There's also some rays popping out here in front. I'm just going to quickly move those down with the penetration slider here. We're going to move the amount back to make it a little bit more subtle, and then pop up the look, which basically will light the image. As I move this, you can see that's how much the rays actually light the image or project light onto the image. And that's it. 2 settings. I think that was like a minute or less with explanation. Let's look at it before and after, because this is going to blow you away. Watch this. This is the before. Oops, I got to turn off my place the sun center. This is the before, and this is the after. And you can really see the AI filter here doing its thing in the foreground, but leaving the sky alone, and then just those added rays really make the image pop. And that's what I mean, from flat, which is this image here, to fat, which is that image there, which is really gets the wow factor going. All right, let's
hey, AD, that's a great image. And just to add on to that, you know, one of the things that I've had some success with is warming up the sun rays, and then matching that up to the golden hour filter as well to kind of light up the rest of the image. It's a really powerful combination. Just as an added bonus, you can combine these things together, like filters together, and make some great looks.
Yeah, and just while you're doing that, I mean, it doesn't really take that long. I mean, here we go. Boom.
Right.
And like, awesome? Like Kevin said, I mean, really, before and after. And if you would have thought this image before, how quick I could easily do that. And that's the thing that I love about it. The main thing I'm finding with the new Luminar, guys, if you're talking about this with anybody, is the connection between the creator's brain and the screen. There used to be hurdles we jump over trying to get through these menus and all this kind of stuff. Not with Luminar so much, but with other programs that are out there. Luminar removes those hurdles and just allows me to kind of just flow into my computer, which I know sounds, you know, a little wacky and stuff, but I'm a little wacky. So there you go. Let me move on to the next image here. I've got another one called up, and we're going to look at something brand new, which is the raw image filter, which is raw develop. And we've actually got a way to handle the raw filters. Now, this image right here is a raw file. It's a 42 megabyte file. They told me not to do this, so it would be super fast, but it's still super fast. So check this out. You're going to really dig this. This is a raw develop. You can see it pop up here. Also, I'd like to make note too, as you scroll through these, you get these wonderful previews that show you what each of these filters do, and that's another nice feature in the UI, I think. All right, so let's get that guy out of there. And you can make all the basic adjustments with this. You can see we have 3 tabs here. And this is the raw develop. If you load a JPEG, it'll just say develop, but you'll still get these features. So we want to distinguish between the two. So if you load in a JPEG and you notice, hey, I don't have a raw develop, that's because you're not working on a raw. If you're working on a raw, it actually shows up as raw develop. We can control the temperature. We can go with a custom temperature here. If I want to, I can pull it off the lampshades here, which I know were white. And we can also adjust the exposure, so I can get that real nice. All the basic adjustments that you find pretty much in most raw processing. We also now have lens correction, so we can control the distortion in the lens, so the pin cushioning. We have full control over that. And we also can control, chromatic aberrations, all that regular stuff. Also devignetting if we have some dark areas around the corners of the image. And then the big one is transform. So here I've got a shot. My camera was kind of leaning back a little bit, and the buildings are kind of, overpowering a little bit. So I want to level this up. So I'm going to just move the vertical here just a little bit. Now, I will tell you something that's key about the adjustments on all of the filters here. The vertical rough adjustment, if you just grab a hold of this slider, will do a massively quick adjustment for you. If you really want to get in there and rip it, you can go ahead and grab a hold of that handle. If you want to make a more minor adjustment or a slower adjustment, grab a hold of the number and move that as well. That'll do a more finer adjustment of the image. So I did the first.
Edie, let me
Yeah,
jump in here. Mark Dodd is asking whether you can create a lens profile, kind of like a preset lens profile for different types of lenses. Do you know if that features in?
So here's the thing. One thing I love about Luminar, there's always a way to do something with a well-made app. And the thing is with Luminar is, even though we don't have a little window that pops up and you select it, that you actually can go into the lens on this filter, and you could save that as a filter preset. So you could actually, like, oh, I did, the 12 millimeter lens, and just save it as a filter called 12 millimeter lens and load it in anytime you want. And boom, it does the pin cushioning, for that adjustment. As far as the up and down, that's something that's pretty much per, the transform is really per, photo. So that's always going to be different. But the lens, you could always set it per lens as you build your, kind of collection of lenses. So yeah, you can do that actually. That's a great question. Just to finish off this photo, you can see down here at the bottom, after I raise that, I got to scale it up a little bit. So we're just going to scale it up real slow here and get it to fill the frame. And now I'm going to also use the offset here to lower the image a little bit so I can center it up. And there we go. There is a nice straight up and down image. It's got the pin cushioning fixed, and I'll show you before. Look at that. And an after. And then to finish off this image, I probably would add the AI filter after the raw development. I know that's a little bit different, but I'm going to add it afterwards. And watch this. This totally blew me away the first time I saw this. Now I can add clarity in the raw develop. You saw that slider down here, I'm sure, but I don't want the whole image to kind of be, really grungy looking. Watch what the AI filter does to the buildings, which are a little dark in this image. Watch this. Just a little AI, and it really makes the architecture part pop in the image. Let's look at it before and after. Look at that. Just a crazy simple adjustment. And of course, it takes me a little longer while I'm explaining it to somebody, but man, if I'm whipping through these, that's the great thing, is it's pretty fast and intuitive. And if you save that lens profile, if I just save that lens profile, this was a 15mm lens, I believe, no, 18mm lens, I'm sorry. If I save that as a filter and I save the accent AI where it's at or whatever, as I save that as a filter, I can batch AI everything with the same lens even. So yeah, there's, we could go way deep into all these configurations that you can do. I highly suggest you guys start with the basics, and then it's like an erector set. You just, it just keeps growing with you. As you learn more, the program offers up these new ways of doing things, which I think is really cool. All right, that's a raw develop filter. So let's move on. Let's close a couple of windows here. I'm gonna show you guys one of my favorite filters. Now, I took this shot when I was down in New York with Kevin. We went out on a little photo walk, and this gentleman was gracious enough to allow me to take his photo, and I thought it came out really cool. But I think it needs a little bit of something. And one of the new filters that came out here with Luminar 2018 is this wonderful matte filter. So if you love looks, you're going to love the matte filter. So let me just call that up really quick here. And right here, matte look, watch this. So this is kind of like what I call like a film in a filter kind of look. A couple of clicks and we can quickly move into a very film-like image. And we can give that kind of faded out film look to it. And this is the cool part, the toning. Watch this. The range control controls how many of the tones in the image actually are affected, and then we can actually grade the image from there with these really cool tones. And I really love like this bluish kind of image look. It looks like old film to me. And simple, really simple, guys, to get these signature looks. I mean, you can develop what you like and go with that. Save it as a preset, which is super easy to do, and quick. And I think, again, creating images, making it intuitive, but very powerful at the same time is the key to Luminar 2018 for sure. Kevin, any questions out there on any of the images so far or the filters that I've shown? Throw them at me, man.
No. Actually, Jeff and I are just talking about native file saving and other things like that. Nothing for these particular images. We're doing well.
Okay, cool. I'm going to keep right on trucking then because I've got my second favorite fun thing to show here, which is lookup tables. So you guys might have heard of lookup tables. They're a way of grading video. I use them a lot when I'm creating videos of scenery or landscapes or travel videos. And what it allows me to do is to pull in a reference file that maps the toning to the image. And now you can actually do this with a photo, which again, groundbreaking stuff here. I think is very cool. And I will tell you a little secret about this. I have a bunch of Lightroom presets. And one of the things that you can do, and I have a video coming out later this week showing how to do this, you can turn a Lightroom preset into a LUT and then use it over in Luminar. So I've done that with a couple of these, and one I like to show off is one I developed called IR Magic. I have an IR camera, which I love, but once in a while, I like to just turn an image into like an infrared image for a crazy look. And I've got this crazy photo here from a place I visited in Wisconsin, of all places. And there's the LUT file. I had it saved off on my hard drive. And that quickly, I've got an IR image, very convincing IR image at that. You can notice the grass down here has got that nice white look to it. And it's we can control too how this LUT or LUT affects our image overall, which I think is also another great feature. You can see I can reduce the colors and what it reacts upon or boost them up and get better contrast out of it. So that's a lot of fun. Easy to do. There's an app out right now. I'm not really sure at this point whether or not we're going to make an app that does that, but it's super easy to do, and I will have a video out on how to do that as well. And I want to tell you guys about one other really cool thing I discovered this afternoon. This isn't in the planned webinar, by the way, but I'm going kind of quick on these, and I want to give you guys all the cool features that I possibly can as quick as I can. So I'm going to clear the workspace. By the way, workspaces are still here, still super powerful and awesome. You can see I can call in the quick and awesome and do that adjustment. Here's the one I wanted to show you guys. We are now supporting third-party Adobe plugins. And a lot of people ask me, well, how does it work? How does it work? Let me show you guys how this works and how fast it is. This is really cool. So if you open up a photo and you come up here to the top menu and you see plugins, and then scroll down to this new entry called choose plugin. You notice there's nothing here. I did load in a couple earlier, but let me show you how to choose a plugin from the very beginning. I'm going to go ahead and go to my applications on the Mac, and then into Adobe Photoshop of all places, and then their plugins folder. This is where I have all the Nick stuff installed, and I can call up, let me call up Silver Effects, and I click into that folder, and here's a plugin. I load it, and almost instantaneously, the plugin loads up super fast, and boom, now I'm over in Silver Effects too. But this is not the coolest thing about this. Let me just pick something here real quick. We'll just do a quick adjustment and click OK. Now the program will load this back in as a layer. I mean, you saw how fast it was, first of all, which is really cool. My creative flow has not been interrupted. And now I can apply all of the blending modes to this. I can change it into a screen mode and kind of get a faded out look. And I can control the opacity of this filtered layer on top of my original folder. Super quick, super easy. I haven't had a chance to test out a bunch of different plugins, but those just loaded up and worked really well. And then after you use them, they appear in the recent area here. So I want to do an analog Effects Pro 2, call it in, call up whatever I want to do here and make my adjustments. So the versatility of what we've done with Luminar 2018 is just now expanded tenfold, I think, with the addition of the third-party plugins as well. So you don't lose all of that stuff. If you're used to using some of this stuff, you can still go in there and use it. So I think that's a really cool feature that I needed to put out there for everybody. So that they could see that.
I knew you would bring that up, and you know, my hope, of course, is that most folks will find that Luminar handles all of their needs. But I understand a lot of people have an investment into some of those older plugins.
Yeah, honestly, myself, I have to say, I'm sorry to everyone else out there who makes stuff, but I don't use the third-party stuff anymore. I'm finding that Luminar is just so intuitive to me that it connects with my creative side so well that I have no need to go outside of the ecosphere of Luminar. It's amazing. So, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. That's a perfect segue into this next filter that I want to show. And I'm going to do like a multi-filter thing here at the end, so you guys can ask questions if you have any, and Kevin can kind of get in the conversation a little bit more. But I do want to show, we do have dodge and burn now available. And so this is a really important feature that we don't need to generate a mask or anything. We call in this filter, we click Start Painting. You'll see on the UI up here up above, you get Lighten, Darken, and Erase. And now you can just basically start painting in light and dark. Very intuitive, very, very easy to use. I don't have to worry about masking or any of that kind of stuff, which I think is great. I'm going to make a big fat brush here. And what I really want to do is I want to make these rocks kind of stick out a little bit more, so you can see how fast I can just paint in detail into these rocks. Super simple. I like the light on this side on the rock, and let's add a little bit more in here. We can reduce our brush size with the bracket keys. Again, very intuitive, you know, very much like other programs we may have been used to at other times. And then I want to also take some of the light out of these rocks at the top. So I'm just going to click on Darken. Notice I didn't create any new masks. I don't have to add anything here. All I do is click into the darken area, and now I can darken that rock up and really just make it more of a silhouette. I really want the light just on the faces there to be prominent. We can kind of boost those up a little bit. Look at that. And super easy. Oh, that might be much. So if I don't want that in there, we'll just erase some of that out. Super easy to do that as well. And then let's look at a before and after. Now, this isn't a lot of big changes here. I didn't really do a whole bunch, but the whole idea was essentially to show you know, how you can control the light within an image quite easily without dealing with masks and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. We've got that in there. Let's look at a before and after. So here's a before, and an after. And you can see how those rocks really pop out now. And if I wanted to, I could continue painting in and doing all that kind of adjustments and stuff. But for me, what I like to do is call in my old friend Accent AI and then give it a little boost and let it do its thing and kind of even the image out. So pretty simple. I'd probably add more things to this, like some image radiance. It's a very surreal kind of image. And you know all how our filters work. They're super simple to call in, and we can call in, let's just type in rad and see what comes out. Look, any part of the word I put in comes in easy. So if I can remember even part of it, sometimes I can't remember the names. So we just can call that in, add in a little bit of radiance to it, smooth it out. Let's darken it up a little bit. Give it that kind of surreal feel, warm it up. There we go. We're starting to get in there a little bit. So a before and after, before and after. So very cool. And all the regular tools are here, by the way. In case you haven't seen them, we have the history tools. We have the undos. If we go a little too far and we want to back up, we can do that as well. Also, our crop, transform, clone and stamp, and erase tools are all here too, under the new tools bar at the top. Just kind of centralized a little bit more in the interface. I think works out a little nicer. I do want to take you guys through a journey with another image, though. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this guy, just to show you the capabilities of kind of like not digital compositing, although Nicole's does some amazing stuff. I can't even fathom sometimes some of the work that she does, but I just wanted to show you guys how quickly you can take an image through into something amazing from just a very basic start. I'm going to load up Workspace now. We hadn't talked about that before. We're going to talk about it now. And one of the things I want to show you guys in Workspaces, which is cool, if you go up here to the view and you click on single view mode, you can get all of those presets to basically shrink down into one space so I can see what's being done. And on top of that, when I make an adjustment, let's warm this up a little bit. So we'll warm it up. Once I make an adjustment, you can see that now turns orange, and that orange indicates that there's something going on with that particular filter. So I can go through, I can tone, I can change blending modes, all that kind of stuff, and that will light up as I make those changes to show that something's been done in that particular filter, which I think that's a wonderful thing to add on to. So I'm just going to do some basic adjustments here, and I'm going to add my good old friend Sunrays, and I'm going to use it in a way that it probably wasn't meant to be used, but it's going to be in its own, again, Luminar offering up some pretty cool options for doing some crazy stuff here. So I kind of want to have a light coming from the crystal ball and shining over onto the book. So I'm just going to move this around till I get what I want. All right, so I've got it on there. I'm going to make some adjustments. Whoops, I don't want to do that one. Do this one. I want to make some adjustments right now to kind of change the way it looks. I'm going to warm it up, like Kev said. I kind of like the warmer light to kind of match the image here, to kind of give it this ethereal kind of look. I'm going to change the length so it doesn't go beyond the book. You can see the rays coming out there. And then the thing I really want to show you is how I can now control what rays actually happen on the screen. So we've got a masking tool, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to erase the rays on the rest of the screen. So we're just going to get rid of that. Let me get my opacity and everything's going there. There we go. So I only wanted them to come out of the crystal ball. So simply just using a mask tool that's right on the actual filter, which is very cool that you can actually mask a filter itself as well as a layer. We can do a whole layer if we want as a mask, but just doing it like that. And that gives us a really cool look, I think, with the kind of envisions what I was thinking about with this particular shot, and having the rays come out of the crystal ball and hit the Harry Potter book there and kind of give it that surreal look. And then finally, oops, we already have it called up here, the vignette. I want to put a vignette on there and darken it up, make it a little bit more mysterious. I'm not as wild and crazy as most guys are with the filters. I kind of sometimes don't push it as far as other folks do, but I do like to have fun with my images sometimes, especially an image like this, which was a senior photo shoot, by the way. And she just wanted something that was different from everyone else. So we went with this scene up at Cornell University. Here's a before, and There's an after. And really, if I'm, again, not explaining things, this is a 3-minute edit, which I find absolutely amazing. So, Kevin, that's pretty much all of the photos I have. I have a few more here that are kind of in the queue. I can keep on going and showing different features. If there's anything that you
Well,
particularly want me to hit upon?
no, actually, I think you've done a great job working through this, AD. I did have a question from Mark Dodd again, which is when, and this may not be good for this image. You might want to pull up a different image, but he's
Sure.
asking about using the clone stamp or using the spot healing. If you zoom in, how do you move the image around to get to a part that's not on the screen?
Ah,
So,
good one, good one. All right, so if you're
work
zoomed
through
in
that.
anywhere on the screen and you are using one of our tools, I believe the space bar is your friend. Let me just find out and see if
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
what I was
case.
thinking too, but I didn't have a chance to try it yet here. So we
Yeah.
thought we'd just go
So
live and leave you twisting in the wind.
sure, why not, man?
Does it work?
Great. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
bet. Yeah, we do what we
So
can.
I think, yes, so right now I'm toggling just by clicking the space bar. So if I want to move around while I'm zoomed in, let's say I want to get rid of this guy right here. I really just, I don't like you, Mr. Whatever you are. You're a little power box or something. We're just going to do this for fun. Okay, so I've got that on there. I want to move around to a different area. I'm going to hit the space bar and hold it. And now I can just click and drag anywhere in the image that I want. So if I wanted to remove something else from here, I can go ahead and do that. Let's take a chess piece or something off the board. Let's make it really crazy difficult for the program to figure out what I want out of this image. So we'll go ahead and just take that out of here. Just to show. And then we can go ahead and use the mouse wheel to zoom back out. I believe too. So if you have a touch, like I'm working on a MacBook Pro right now, so you can actually, I think you can do kind of different things. I'm moving around right now using the pad up and down, but it's moving like everything. So I think still what you'd want to do is use the space bar. So now I'm using two hands. I'm not using my mouse right now. I'm actually holding down the space bar and I'll click on the touchpad, which is horrific, by the way, if you own a MacBook Pro, a new one. They're really hard to operate. But yeah, I'm just clicking on the touchpad and moving around. I really prefer a mouse, though. It's much easier to do. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Just hold down the space bar and it gives you full control of the screen, so you can move
Great.
around.
That was a great question. Hey, Daniel wants to know if there's any performance measurements that we have published over 2017. How much faster, whatever. Are you aware of any that you've worked with?
Uh, Other than my own personal like benchmark,
Mhm.
I can just safely say it's marketably faster. I mean, it just for me, the flow of the program just seems much more fluid now. And I have to put it out there, guys. I want you to keep in mind, you're watching my screen right now. Keep in mind how many images, including raw images, I have open right now with Luminar running all of these, and there you didn't really see a slowdown during that entire time while I was processing. So I don't think the earlier version of it would have handled as much as fluently as it, and I don't think it maybe might have not handled it at all as far as the is loading these large images in and dealing with
Yeah,
all of them
yeah,
at once.
that's kind of a standing requirement for all updates and releases is to work on performance tweaks. Hey, I think rather than have you open up any more images, let's go ahead and let these folks have the rest of their day. I just have a
Sure.
couple of concluding remarks. Number one of which is that there are many of our existing features that were in the software that were improved. So structure, image radiance, high key, split toning. There's a lot of things that we improved under the hood for those things. We also, rather than have noise reduction as a kind of a separate big tool, we made it into its own filter. So you got real time noise reduction and just a whole ton of little improvements. AD I think indicated initially that we had 20 or more new features and improvements. We've shown you about 6 or 8 of them. So a lot of great features to dig into there. So thanks, AD. Really appreciate it. Love seeing some of your photos there. A lot of times we're giving you photos to edit, but man, you've got a real eye for that stuff. For the folks out there on the webinar here, I have two remarks. One, we'll be releasing Luminar 2018 on the 16th of November. Of course, the pre-orders open now. So on the 16th of November, we'll go live with Mac and Windows. Now, just bear in mind that as with our Aurora product, the Windows version doesn't at the onset have feature parity with Mac. So there are gonna be some differences between the two. If you're a journalist or focused on the Windows market, the software is very, very capable. In fact, the Luminar 2018 Windows product is more capable than our Mac 2017 products right out the gate. But in terms of feature parity, it's going to take us, on the order of weeks and maybe even a couple of months to get all of the nuances and all the features that the Mac version has, into feature parity on the Windows side. So bear in mind that all those updates will be pushed automatically to customers, and those will all be free. So if you're on the Mac side, of course, you got a great. That's our kind of our benchmark, if you will, and so you'll have everything you need. So I hope, kind of to wrap this thing up, I hope that you can see how our plans to be a true alternative to Adobe Lightroom and many of the Photoshop features that pertain to photography editing. I hope you can kind of see how that's taking shape, right? We first started with Luminar as an all-in-one photo editing platform, very adaptable, very capable. We've got brand new technologies into that. We've now got Mac and PC versions of our software. We're able to run other people's plugins. We've announced that we're working on a digital asset manager / image organizer, getting a lot of feedback and requirements on that right now. We've got a renewed commitment to education and making sure that our customers can use the software to its fullest, very focused on ease of use. And so, I hope you can kind of visualize the roadmap of where we're going here as we head into 2018. Future's super bright, and we're all very, very committed to delivering the highest quality software we can. Very exciting. As I mentioned at the onset, it's okay to publish reviews now. Many of you have the NFR versions. Very late stage betas are in your hands. We've got a complete press kit. You can certainly reach out to Maria, our communications manager, or Mark Jacobs, our affiliate manager, depending on who your chief contact is. AD and I are also available to answer any questions. But really, really glad you could join us for a few minutes here today. I did record the session, so once we've got it up live, both Mark and Maria will make that download link available to you. Thanks again for joining us. This is Kevin LaRue from Macphun in San Diego signing off, and I'll answer anybody else's questions after the webinar here personally. Take care. Glad to have you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye now.